Alright, hi everybody. We're gonna... Yeah, yesterday's vlog was a thing. We're back on track, back on time, finishing up. We got like 2 vlogs left of Vlogmas. Yes.
Well, the moment you felt you could start over new was the same that you realized the stories were true. You opened your eyes and the world you could see wasn't dim, it was brighter. You'd have to agree. Oh, now your fears are gone. They were buried with the dawn. And oh, now you feel alive for the very first time. Oh, now your fears are gone. They were buried with the dawn. And oh, now you feel alive for the first time. Not hold me yet. Not hold me yet. No, you're not home yet. No, not home. But you finally found the way.
But, right now, tacos. Right now, I'm gonna go get a package that's outside my door. I don't know how far outside my door, though. Why? Why? What are you doing? Here we go. Taco! What's with the taco? I didn't actually need to put on boots. I don't know why I did that. It's fine. Come on. Thank you. Oh, Lord. Amazon package. I'm going to have to show you guys these. I'm really excited. Actually, am I going to show you these? Yeah, I probably will, but, package.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful.
So entertained.
Are you in a toilet?
Caught on camera. Baby in the drawer. Oh my goodness. Our 11th day of Vlogmas wine. I'm glad you're excited. Is Merlot. Ew, gross. I hate Merlot's so dry. It's so bad. It's like street cooking wine. But I'm gonna let Gregory drink it anyway. Okay, everybody. Are you coming?
Like $100.
Are you gonna come talk?
Yeah, I'm not talking for nice.
All right. So today we're doing a sit-down talking vlog again, kind of like coffee day, but like different.
What was that? Me?
Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, so we're gonna talk about Christmas traditions. We're gonna talk Christmas traditions, and we have spent Christmas Eve together for like our entire lives, and we have spent all of Christmas every year together.
I'm a gray dog.
Yeah. So we're gonna start with Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve tradition, and I was looking into like the food that we eat on Christmas Eve and the traditions, and I was looking at this like book, and it just. I did do research for this episode, yes, but we'll get there when we get there. So Christmas Eve, every year, we share the same, like, father's side of the family. And so shared grandparents on our dad's side. And what time did you get there on Christmas Eve? We always got there late, but we brought pizza for lunch. And we always came at, like, 1, because we were always late. We were supposed to be there.
Apparently we're always late.
Yeah. What time did you guys get there? You were always there before us, so I assume like
early in the morning or the day before.
Oh.
Like it was like a rush. Like when I worked till noon last year, I was like, everyone's gonna do everything without me. I'm gonna get there so late. It's gonna be terrible. Granted, everyone was all there and doing stuff already without me. It was fine.
Except us.
I wasn't there at all. Last year I wasn't there at all. But anyway, as kids, like, that's kind of how it was. And then we have pizza for lunch because it was a non-meat day in Polish tradition / Slovakian. So, okay. Our grandma was German. Our grandpa is basically Czech. And then, what else? Is she? They're not both 100%. I thought they didn't answer ancestry things that they weren't.
I don't know. My mom's side is like 100 things, so I'm 100 things, but I
Right.
don't know. Like,
My grandpa, my
My
mom's
mom's
dad
on
said
our
that
side
too.
were
So
like
it's like
a million different
my
things.
mom, my grandma's 100% Polish, like 100%. So we've got the quarter Polish, and then it's like
I'm a
Every-
little
5%
else.
French, 20% Irish, all the good stuff.
But also, that 23andMe thing tried to say one day, like, it was only for like a week, it stayed that way, but it tried to say I was like 1% Chinese, so like, how accurate is it really?
new developments are being made every day.
Oh my gosh, I took a
your
class
husband's
where
Mexican, well, you're Chinese.
I took a class where our professor, it was a diversity class, I'm pretty sure, he was talking about those things, and he was so mad. He went on a tangent about how fake and dumb they were and how they were just a scam for your money, and you can't figure out your DNA, because that's not possible, or where you're from, or whatever.
It makes sense,
So
though, when you
funny.
think about it. I
Yeah.
mean, how do you...
Like,
my
even-
mom just bought it for me and was like, do this, and I was
I'm
like,
pretty sure they compare it to like other people.
Okay, because
And-
you can trace like the
That's shady.
genealogy by saying, okay, you have this blood, and this person in our database from 300 years ago was from this area, and they have similar genealogies,
Yeah.
and so because they're from this area, you're
Right.
probably from that area.
Right.
But it's literally all just a best guess, unless you literally follow all of your ancestors. But then you'd have to submit DNA from all of your dead relatives, which they don't have
Time
that.
to go grave digging.
I feel like all the
Breakfast
usable
and
DNA would
pasta.
be gone unless they were going to take like bone marrow. I don't even think there's bone marrow left. Anyway, so
Off on a
basically we're
tangent.
Czech and
Ugh.
German, and we have a traditional Czech, German, Latvian, and Polish like area, right? In Eastern European area, they have basically the same traditions. So it was a traditional Eastern European dinner. That's what we have every single year. So I also found out in doing my research, the reason that we don't eat till like 6 o'clock is because the food takes that long, because they could just have started it early. It's because you can't eat until the first star shines, and it's called a Wigilia. And
That's
it's
too much.
the pinnacle of Christmas dinner. It is the highest point of the celebration. I had no idea, but apparently it's a thing. Anyway, so it's like in Polish tradition, which is grouped in with German, Latvian, etc., etc. Anyway, so we eat like the commoner's version of this dinner because it's supposed to be a 12-course dinner with varying desserts. Yeah, it's literally like we have like 2 things, and they don't call pateka because pateka is the Czech term for it. It's called like marshwali. I don't even know. It's like some weird word that looks like marshland, but anyway, with like a K and an I in it. Anyway, that's a poppy seed bread, but we're not gonna get there. We'll get there later. So we would come at noon. We traditionally don't eat meat, so we would have like cheese pizza for lunch. And then we'd sit there for like a bunch of hours and do nothing. Eventually, when we were like,
Play checkers.
well, we would sit
When we got
downstairs and
older,
like
we
watch
decided
TV.
board games are a thing.
Yeah.
And cards.
And
For
then
all the
eventually
adults.
they would watch TV basically as well. And
Or
sit
they
and
would
talk,
play
but they
hand
would
foot.
usually be preparing.
We
food
weren't
in
allowed
advance.
to.
In advance.
No, they would make the pierogi, but now we make it in advance.
Right. But even if we made it that same day, like, the mixer helps speed it up. So
Do you
just
remember
have it
when they
the same.
had,
when Grandma would bake it in a bowl? Yes,
Oh
I do
yeah,
remember that.
forever.
I've seen
Pictures
pictures.
of that.
I
remember
remember
they made it
cookbook.
on the table.
Picture of Grandma and your dad and Grandpa like rolling it out on the table.
Mm-hmm. On that
Guys
card
still
table.
talking about Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Yeah, we do everything at Christmas.
It's so much. Okay, anyway, so Because it's the highest point of the celebration. I wondered why it was such a freaking big deal, and now I know. Traditions, man.
The more you know.
Right? Anyway, so then we kind of like hang out for like 6 hours, and then finally it'd be dinner time at 6 o'clock. We'd have to go wash our hands in the money water, which the reason that they do that... She's like, your family's fucking weird, man. No, we'd have to go wash our hands in the money water to bring you wishes of good health. What you have to do to start the dinner is wish people a prosperous new year.
You just, like,
But
been
lately
soaking
they've been like,
pennies
no.
in water for the whole year.
They
or
literally
something? Like,
they
what
clog
disgusting.
they like clog
The sink, and then they're like, who has change? And then everyone dumps their change into the sink. They pour some water on it, and then you rinse your hands in it.
It's
That
disgusting.
sounds
the
like a
past
bunch
few
of
years.
COVID.
Yeah.
For the past few years, they've been like, germs, don't do it.
Right. But it's because, again, traditionally you're supposed to wish well and prosperous future, and there's like certain toasts that they're supposed
So
to
now
do.
that you all didn't do it when you were kids, you're not going to come up with rich
No
millionaires.
No wonder Facebook said I'm broke 5 times.
Anyway, so we'd wash our hands, and then we'd all stand around in like a circle, and we'd read like this pamphlet. This thing is like archaic. I don't even know where it came from. Where could you buy it from? Like, it's like a set of prayers and readings, and like I have no idea where they came from because they're not in like a traditional Catholic like missal or anything. Like they don't exist anywhere else. They just exist in Eastern Europe, and then somehow it came with our ancestors.
Tiny little pamphlet. But
Yeah. But anyway, so they do like this whole thing. You put Jesus in the manger, and you're like, oh, it's so cute, it's so sweet. You take pictures, and then you sing a couple songs, and then it's like, okay, it's time for dinner. But wait, there's more. So first, they have to lay out the hay on all of the seats and make sure that there's an empty space for Jesus, which is totally fine. I'm good with that. I could continue that tradition. But you have to get a honey blessing on your forehead and have a wafer with some prayer that is said.
I don't know. Can't understand.
And that's traditional Polish Christmas Eve start too. That's like directly from there. I didn't realize. I thought our family was just weird for years. Why didn't they just explain like this is our historical, like we're carrying on a legacy that nobody even knows about?
I'm just going to interject.
It's
I'm
not.
interjecting. You are weird. This is weird.
That's cool.
But the thing was, for traditional like Eastern European families in like the 1800s and the early
Walk
1900s.
around with honey on their forehead for
Yeah,
Christmas
it makes your skin so soft.
Eve? No.
It's sticky and it gets in your
It's
hair.
horrible,
and
but it's
disgusting.
symbolic. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Anyway, and then we can start dinner. For dinner, we have pierogi, or pierogi, depending upon how you pronounce it. Pierogi is supposed to be like the Czech version. Pierogi is everybody else.
Oh, wow, she did her research.
Yes. And then we also have mushroom soup, which is like a wild mushroom soup. My favorite part about the meal. It's got like lentils in it.
talking about this because you love it, but you don't do
Like
mushrooms.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like mushroom. It's like
She
the
picks the
cream
mushrooms.
of
It's got like
mushroom soup.
eat, like,
baby
the baked
beans and like
pieces
that
of
kind of stuff in it.
Yeah.
So think of it almost like a split pea soup.
It's like
Or like-
lentils.
Which
With
is disgusting,
mushrooms.
but you know.
Yeah.
It's
It's,
be into it.
it's
It's
super
good.
good. We can bring you some, I'm sure.
Hannah just
boy.
picks the mushrooms.
Yeah, I just pick out the larger mushrooms because
Anyway.
it tastes like mushrooms, so I don't know why they call it mushrooms.
Mushrooms doesn't
Maybe
really have a
wild
taste. They
mushrooms.
just absorb whatever flavor.
Yeah.
is around.
It's the texture that.
When you're when they double the
Love
salt.
mushrooms.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that was horrible.
I
Anyway,
love
they
that.
doubled the salt one
They
year
doubled the
because my
salt.
dad added the salt because Auntie told him to. And then Grandma went and was like, no one added salt, and added salt to it.
I don't
And they
remember
both
that.
added the amount that was supposed to be in there, so it had double the amount of salt, and we were all like, anyway. So those are like the main parts, and then we have fresh fruits. And the reason that we have fresh fruits because I never understood that. I was like, why the
Oh, yeah.
hell do we have fresh
Auntie
fruits?
was all like, we have to have the fresh fruit. We have to have the mini oranges. Grandma always had it. And I'm like, okay.
Because preserves and jams were part of the tradition. That was like a key point. That was like a mark of wealth was to have preserves and jams because fruit was so like hard to come by. And I was like, interesting. So now we have
So now we're
fruits.
bougie.
Exactly.
Let's
so
go
having something
spend
like that.
freaking $50 on
If you
some
could
fresh fruit.
find it,
Yeah.
right? Anyway,
Just
so
to show everyone that we're rich and better than everyone else.
basically,
My
then-
family did nothing on Christmas Eve.
and then there's Pateca, which is like a poppy seed bread. It's not lemon poppy seed. It's like weird and flaky.
I feel like
And
it's
then
not
it's
like
poppy
a
seed
cinnamon
at all.
roll bread with nuts in
But
it.
it's
It's
not. It's got
definitely
like
not
a
poppy
raisin
seed,
pound paste.
Yeah, like
I don't remember making it
cinnamon
that way,
roll
but,
bread, but
But it
with
doesn't
like
taste at all like cinnamon rolls.
nuts.
It's super bland.
it's kind of sweet.
But it's super bland.
It
I'm not a fan.
doesn't have a lot
What
of
else do
flavor
we
to it.
even eat? I feel like that we don't even eat anything else.
A plate of
Like
cookies,
Yeah, well,
Yes.
they also, again, as sort of desserts, they have a lot
You
of
got
traditional
alcohol?
cookies.
sparkling.
We would have
He's
wine,
opening
the
but
wine.
then you
Talking to
traditionally
Gregory.
also had a shot of
I feel like
blackberry
you and
brandy
I
to
lived the
help
hood
with
rat
beer.
Christmas, and they got some stuff going on.
Oh, he knows.
He's drinking the Merlot.
Merlot.
If you saw,
Sponsored by 12 Days of Wine-Miss.
I-
don't know.
12 Days of Vlogmas. I opened it at the
Vlogmas,
beginning
sorry.
of this video. He's drinking
He's
it now.
drinking Merlot. Sponsored.
You should have done that on camera.
He just goes,
Great. Vlog.
Listen, these wines have been horrendous. That one's not that bad.
we have Christmas dinner, and then we all have to clean up, vacuum the rug, do all of the dishes,
Vacuum
make
the
sure
rug.
everything is totally clean.
Oh yeah, we had to vacuum that rug until there was no hay, which
left
is
on it.
really difficult because the hay stuck to everything, including your pants.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you
And
just
it
have hay poking out of your butt. Oh, so uncomfy. But anyway, and then finally, we could all sit around and they would pass out all of the gifts to everybody.
You missed the choir. We all have to sing to our grandmother
You're right.
first.
We would. She would ask us to sing while we were waiting. We don't know what we were waiting for. Tradition doesn't have anything to do with that. They do say you have to open gifts at the end of the night, and that is required. Otherwise, it's not a true Willia or whatever it is.
Okay.
Seriously. But if you don't exchange gifts, it's not okay. But we would have to wait, and we're like, what are we waiting for? And no one ever had an answer for us. They were just like, we're just waiting for this person. We're like, to do what? We literally did
They're
every
right there.
year.
They're standing.
It would take
here.
like an hour, and we'd just be like,
You know, as a kid, you just want to open presents.
right, and it'd be like 9 or 10 o'clock, and we'd be like, okay, and we'd be done so. I'm fine. So then, yeah, and then
And
we
we'd
wait.
sit in a circle.
Yep.
And then they would pass us the presents. And then some years we do one like one by one, and other years are like, "Okay, just go for it."
It was so chaotic though, because it was never like it would either be like everyone opens just one of their gifts and everyone watches, not like, oh, we're just gonna like as we pass them out, people are gonna open them. Like I don't remember ever doing that there, but like we'd pass them all out and then this person opens one and then you kind of go down the line. Or just, okay, open your gifts now. And it was like, this is a lot of build-up for not a lot of, like, anything. You know what I mean? Like, we got stuff, but it would just be like, no one's paying attention to the things that I'm getting, so I feel like, do I say thank you? Do I find you later?
Or you have to like shout across the room, "Thank you."
Yeah.
But I also, on the other hand, have been on your guys' family Christmas that we don't share. And it was torture to sit there for like 3 hours while everyone opened a gift one at a time.
It was it's a
But I also
social
wasn't getting
event.
any gifts. I was just sitting there with
Yeah.
for 3 hours. It's very boring. So I'd much rather do that. Everyone opens one gift while everyone watches, and then you just
Right. Yeah. So then, like, that would be like it. We'd be done. Sometimes we'd stay the night, like when we were younger. And then we had more kids in the family. My uncle got divorced. It was a whole thing. We all got older.
Still
And
waiting
then-
on that one, you know.
Which one?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna set her up with Todd.
Other uncle, but yes.
oh,
Anyway, we'll talk about this later. So then we would go home, and then they'd go to midnight mass, and by they I don't mean you, but like my grandparents would go to midnight mass, and some of my like great aunts and uncles, and then we'd go to church in the morning. And then for us on Christmas Day, my grandma would bring over stockings, and then like for the first like maybe 10 years of our lives, we went to my grandma's house, and like because she still had kids that lived in her house, because like my aunt that's nearest in age to me is only 7 years older than me, so like she was in their house for like a really long time. And then when she finally like moved out and my parents had a lot more kids, my parents had the only grandkids for a really long time. So then we moved it to our parents' house. But anyway, so we'd do stockings that our stockings in the morning, and then stockings that my grandparents had for us. And then we would have dinner around like 2 or 3. And then as soon as we were done, sometimes we'd play a game, sometimes we'd watch a movie, and then we'd sit down to open gifts. And we would pass out one gift, watch that person open it, move on to the next gift. And it was like, Anna's not even joking, like a 3 to 4 hour process every single year. And honestly, growing up with it, it really wasn't that bad because it was like, oh man, we always did kids get first. So kids got a gift, and then everyone else kind of socialized, and they'd be like, having side conversations, drinking or eating or whatever. And then like the kids would get their gifts first, like they'd get one each first, so they'd have something to entertain them while we were going. So it kind of like worked out, but like, I don't know, I always really enjoyed it. And then that was like the end of the night, and then we just like chill in the house until people left. And that's like Christmas Day was super low key.
Board game fanatics.
Yeah. Or we'd like put together Lego sets as we got older, or like whatever toys we have. We'd like, one year I got a dress up set and I played dress up all night. I mean, not gonna lie, I was the prettiest princess, but anyway.
Okay, when we played that game.
No, not Pretty Princess. I'm talking about I got like a Cinderella costume set. Your Christmas Day, I'm gonna go get Piper because she ditched us. I'll be right back.
I don't really have a like Christmas Day to comment on. When I was younger, we'd go to my mom's parents' house and like do stuff with my grandpa. But like the past couple of years, we haven't really done anything. Like, we just do like our family, and like we already opened all the gifts on Christmas Eve, so we just kind of like hang out and have a chill day.
Okay, Christmas and Christmas Eve for you. Go.
We do nothing on Christmas Eve. My family meets
They
once.
sleep all day.
No, I just mean like my family doesn't meet, and none of us were ever really that close together. So we did the traditional what people do of this generation. We meet once.
We've been rotating, so this year we're doing traditional Christmas Eve, Christmas Day at home, and then the day after Christmas with his family. So we've got 3 days of Christmas.
There's nothing else there besides some of the things we eat. I mean, we'd all get together and we'd do our thing. My grandma would be cooking. We'd have, casseroles, ham. I was a vegetarian for a while, and so was my cousin, so, some of that in there. And then we'd always have poppy seed bread and spetzel. It's like a type of pasta-like thing. They're
I
like,
know what you're talking about.
I just happen to have a vast knowledge of everything, Hannah.
I happen to have a friend who's made it for me a couple of times. It's fine. Okay, moving forward.
And that's it. We used to do like big trash bags filled with presents that my grandma would get us when there weren't that many of us grandkids. And then there became more, and then we slowly got less presents, and then everybody moved out of state, and now I do nothing on Christmas.
We're going to have house Christmas, though. It's going to be great. Santa's coming, and...
Is he? Because I've
Yeah.
none of my presents Santa, or is the stocking Santa?
Yeah, the stockings are Santa.
Oh, okay.
We've talked about this.
I didn't get you anything for your stocking then.
No, you didn't.
Alright,
So,
I know what his ideal Christmas would be.
what are we doing here? Just what we're
Christmas
doing.
No, what did you do for Christmas? I know the answer to this, but
We really didn't have any sort of Christmas tradition, so I'd wake up in the morning. I lived with my grandma growing up, so we'd wake up, and depending on whatever the situation was that year, either we'd go over to my aunt's house, or my aunt and her two children would come over to our house, and we'd wait to open up gifts until everybody was at one location. Some years we'd do, my grandma and I would open up our gifts, they would open up their gifts, and we'd all come together, either there or at our place, and then, turkey, ham, potatoes, carrots, and, onions. So
Just onions.
that was growing up. As we kind of reached adulthood, the oldest cousin has kind of taken over for the location of where we hold Ross Christmas.
I'd also like to state it's also her birthday that day, so.
Tay-Tay?
Yeah. So it's my cousin Taylor's birthday as well as Christmas. So not only was sweet baby Jesus born that day, but so was sweet baby Taylor. And she wants it at her house, and so we do it at her house.
I mean, it makes sense. She has most of the kids, so.
She does have most of the kids, and she houses grandma.
Yeah. Makes it easy.
So we're all there nowadays, and since we all become 21 and older, turned into a drinking contest.
Yeah, I remember the first year. Were we together that year? Yeah. No.
Gregory's
Yeah,
like, I get freaked out that they put honey on my forehead. Hannah's like, I get freaked out that they get obliterated.
I'm afraid to drive home. I mean, you know. No, they were literally at Fuji, which is like a hibachi Japanese steakhouse.
Don't know it.
Until
Oh.
like they closed at like 10 o'clock because Gregory came in late because he's a failure. Or was rather.
No. That Christmas was
Weren't you
The year
already
before
fucked
we
up?
were
glorious.
together.
So,
It was hilarious.
Christmas Eve, I dress up like a Christmas tree, and I go to the bar. I put battery-powered Christmas lights strapped
Oh,
and rounded
God.
all the way around me, wearing all green, a fancy sweater, and I just get destroyed. And it's just Dallas and I. Well, I think Tristan came out for a little bit, but it's just Dallas and I.
There's a video.
And I,
There
like,
is
there's like
very
maybe
Christmas.
3 other people in the bar, and I'm up on the dance floor, just killing
Going
it.
to town.
Just
He's just like,
thinking I'm dancing to like a whole crowd of people, like, yeah, people,
those
yeah.
were his arms.
Just killing it.
You
And
should, the video is really prime. That's my favorite
I-
part about that video. Is you're just
We
like, hey, Merry
had-
Christmas, and they'll pull out that video in like 2 seconds flat. It's so good.
It has been decided that that was known as Merry Gregsmas. We had reservations, which you can't have reservations, but we made reservations. That we were going to show up at Fuji at like, noon. Well, I didn't wake up till 3. I woke up to a numerous amount of missed phone calls, angry text messages, and one voicemail that said, hey, so, like, we're not mad at you or anything. You should really just come by. We just want to see it. They totally thought that I was upset with them and I didn't want to see them. When, in all reality, I was just hungover and drunk, sleeping. And I woke up, I'm still half cut. So then I get in the car, I drive over there, I'm like, hey, you guys still want to go to Fuji? Which was just down the road. So then we get in the car, we go to Fuji. By the time I show up, my aunt is just smashed. She had probably 3 or 4 glasses of sangria, of homemade sangria, which was pretty aggressive.
from out the toilet.
No, and then she started, when I got there, she had started drinking Captain Cokes, which
Nice.
was not
I've seen
going
her
over
drink
well.
just a couple of those.
And then we get into Fuji, and I'm hungover and not really wanting to eat, so I try to ride the wave, and I get a couple of sake bombs in me and get a beer, and then I'm just smashing this food,
Oh, sake bombs.
and then, everybody was pretty well blitzed at that point. Grandma was pissed. Baby was dropped.
As she should.
But,
There's a literal child at this point, but it's fine.
yeah. So it was,
We all have
that
stories.
has been known as Merry Gregsmas and will live in infamy.
Yes, it will.
Those are my
And then
traditions.
came that me and everything changed. But I
For the
didn't
worse
change
or the
That's the
better?
same for the better.
I'm more of an Easter kid. I
How
like.
do you want to unpack that?
That's a lot.
This is Christmas.
I'm done here. Over and
Christmas.
out.
Was Christmas or Easter the day the guy died? That was Christmas, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. So there's one morning.
What?
One Christmas morning, we wake up.
When he was a child. Like 10.
Yeah, I was like 12.
A child.
I was 12.
12 is when most people start doing hard drugs.
You know, I was in 6th grade. I had already smelt weed for the first time. I knew what it was. I wasn't playing
Me
around.
too. I didn't know what it was though.
Well, I was offered at that time, and I
Jeez
said,
Louise.
it smells like candy.
Continue on. We're not worried about this. We're worried about Christmas.
Okay, so anyway, so then we wake up, Dad's walking around, taking the dog out. I'm like, oh, Dad's not back from, walking the dog. Look out the window, see if we can spot him. She usually just kind of like goes around the block or like goes to the mailbox and then walks back. Well, we look out the window and then there's the sheriff's car just lit up at like 9 a.m. An ambulance rolls in and my dad's talking to the cop. I'm like, well,
What'd you do?
Dad's not coming back to Christmas.
Dad got arrested.
And he's just standing there with a cigarette in his hand, his weird mutt of a dog, Daisy, and just chatting to the sheriffs like they're old buddies, which they probably were. And then he comes in with just like a weird grin / horrified look on his face, and he goes,
How do you mix the two?
"Hey, Ma," talk to my grandma, and says to me, well, we're not going to be going outside for Christmas today. We would play around in the snow after opening gifts and food and whatnot. We're like, why? Well, somebody crashed their truck about half a mile down the dirt road, and now in the middle of the night they must have walked up towards this way, seeing the street light, and they keeled over in the snow, and well, there's a dead body over there. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, we just kind of accepted that one. From that point on,
That's when
like
he
the
was-
neighbors in the area would take turns kind of mowing around where the dude died.
I have more commentary to make on my end now that he told his story.
Alright.
Nothing to do with dead bodies. You just said playing in the snow, and I remembered something.
We sometimes do that too.
Taking the positive spin on things. My parents were divorced, so I do every other year. So the German was my mom's side, and then, the English folk in Wisconsin.
The good old Wisconsinites.
Yeah, we didn't really do much. There was nothing tradition-wise there. It's honestly not very memorable, and we're probably not going to do it again because my grandpa passed in 2020. But, I just remember this one year. My grandparents had a lot of property, so they had, like, these ponds all over the place. Like, legitimate ponds with fish, whatnot.
Yes.
That would freeze over. And my grandpa would plow all the snow into, like, this giant hill right by the lake. And me and my cousin, we were
Thought
the
they were
only
ponds.
kids. Huh?
Thought they were ponds.
Pond. By the pond. Anyways, he'd plow this giant hill by the pond, and me and my cousin would go out and have,
Wisconsin calling a pond a lake.
we're gonna get it. You guys have 10,000 lakes or whatever.
They're legit lakes though. They have to be at least 10 acres to be qualified as a lake, and then Wisconsin, they're like, that puddle, that's a lake.
Anyways. Our football team's better than yours. So,
I don't
My
care about
driveway
football
flooded
season.
growing up. I used to call it Ross Lake.
yep. So,
Hills by ponds.
we'd go out and play and have our snowball fights, and I just remember this one year, there's the big hill, and me and my cousin are, shucking snowballs, backed him up, and he's like, don't throw another snowball, and I was like, and he fell off, and he's like holding on to it, and he's like, can you help me up? And I was like, no. Fell onto the lake, and it was frozen solid, and I just remember him going, oh. And he's like sliding backwards, like into the middle of the lake, and he's like, and he made it back. We were fine. We didn't tell anybody. We did not want to get scolded.
One year we jumped on the trampoline with there was a bunch of like literally a foot of snow on the trampoline.
That was so much fun.
And we didn't tell anybody until they came out, and they were like, "What are you doing? It's gonna break!" And my mom has pictures of it, and it's really funny.
So like someone yelling in the background, like,
No, it's just all of us like trying to get off the trampoline because there's an extra 30 pounds of snow, and then like all 8 of us are sitting there like, what should we start on fire?
I see where your son gets it. So
Anyway,
the only time we were really allowed to have imaginations, though, when we were outside.
so that is Christmas.
Hey.
We are all very different, and yet here we are, about to spend this year's Christmas Eve together.
I feel like this is one of those years where you realize that you're an adult now and you have kids and you start your own things.
Absolutely.
You know,
That is my entire intention this year.
Yeah.
But I went about it intentionally instead of just happening like upon that.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, though, my parents have all moved and such, and I feel like something will happen once my siblings are older, but as of right now, it's like a us thing. But, you know, 1 year, your grandparents are going to be your parents, you know, in a sense.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just, that's how it's going to work, you know?
Then there's going to be even more family, and that's just
Right.
what?
There's going to be a lot of people. You best get to building that event space, Hannah.
I know. I'm working on it. Gotta find the house first. Anyway, so if you guys enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching. I know it was long, but here we are. And we will see you next time.
Please like and subscribe.
Piper supported me. Goodbye.
Don't forget to share with your friends.
Yeah.
All of them.
Even if they don't like it. We're fine.
Love, Genevieve.